Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we're just going to work out getting the interfacing and cutting out the bib pieces for our apron. Hope you'll come and join me. So I've just done my embroidery, I've just prepared it ready to go on, and what I've done is I've taken a piece of fusible interfacing, I cut it the same size as my pattern, and I've popped it onto my piece of fabric there like that. I ironed it all over so that's sitting on nicely, and I've got my backing piece, and what you want to do is come in with your other piece of fabric and we're going to just stitch right across the top at 1/4 of an inch. When I cut mine, I've cut slightly larger at the bottom, and what I should have done was cut it slightly larger at the top. So when you do yours, you've got just enough space to fit that teddy in there. He fits in quite nicely, but you want to have it so that the top has got the more space than the bottom, because this is the place we're going to be actually sewing these two pieces together like that. Okay, so I'm just going to come along and I'm just going to stitch right across the top here like that. Alright, so I just go straight across. So because I've made a mistake, I'm going to try and do mine at 1/8 of an inch. I would say that it's not, shouldn't really do less than 1/8 of an inch. It'll just pull out. But if you do end up making a mistake like that, you can always wiggle your fabric around and sort of think to yourself, right, well that's definitely not right. I need to have a space between that ear. So I'm just going to do it at 1/8 of an inch, because if I did it 1/4 of an inch, I'd actually be touching that ear. So I need to sort of try and sort of work on my mistake, get my mistake put right. So I'm just going to go on, I'm going to turn the machine on, I'm going to go on, I'm going to do a back stitch. I was still on a gathering stitch there, sorry. And then I'm going to go all the way across like that, and I'm looking here on my foot to make sure I've got it the right space, and I'm not watching my needle, I'm watching this piece here on my foot. I couldn't believe I did it after all those hours of work on the embroidery to cut it too small. And then I have to do another one because I managed to burn the other one with the iron. So so there we go. So I've done it like that. I'm going to take it to the iron now, and I'm just going to fold that right over. So I'm just going to do something which is a little bit different. You can carry on now and carry on and follow the video, which we're going to just have there, and stop it here and just carry on and follow that, or you can do something which is going to be a little bit different. So what we did on the other one was we just put it in, and it was just very plain across the top there. We just folded it in and it was just completely plain. And I thought, oh, it's a bit boring. It doesn't look quite right. So I had a scrap of fabric. You might have a scrap left, hopefully. And all I did was I got a little piece of, this is just a nylon cord, just a piece of random cord I had lying around. And I'm just going to pop it inside and fold it over like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to take it to the machine, and I'm just going to stitch really close to the edge of that cord there, like that, along there. And I'll do that and then I'll come back. So just going to pop it in there, and we're just going to stitch right down nice and close to the edge of that cord. I'm going to put a couple of pins in just to hold it in place like that. Don't put the pins into the cord itself. Oops, I moved it there. Let's just do that again. So I'll just pop a couple of pins in, you don't need very many, just to hold it, stop it wiggling around. Don't worry about having it and keeping it and getting it exact to that very edge, because we'll do that when we do the main stitching of it. Okay, so I'm just going to put a few pins in there just to hold that fabric and stop it from rolling around like that, and then we'll take it to the sewing machine. Okay, so my string is starting just about here, so I'm going to just come back just a tiny bit from it. Got a 1/4 inch foot on. You don't need to have a 1/4 inch foot, you can use an ordinary foot, but I'm just going to be using this. Okay, so I'm just going to come in, do some back stitching, and I'm going to go all the way down. And you see it's sort of like touching where that string is on the edge there. Just take that last one out. There we go. Okay, right. So I'm just going to take that out. So that's that beautifully stitched in there. And can you see there's quite a gap between there and there? So when we come in and pin it, we're going to stitch right up, right next to that string. So I'm just going to chop the ends off. I'm going to chop that end off there. Right, I got a bit too much on this end as well, so I'm just going to chop that piece off there. Okay, remove those pieces. I've kept all of my scraps because I want to do some other bits, and the little dress I used out of a piece which was left over from the ruffle and things like that, so for the little rabbit. So I'm just going to come in now and we're going to pin the white to it. So we're going to place this on here. We're going to place it so that that line of stitching there is touching onto that edge of that white piece just there, like that, and then we're going to come in and pop that on like that. So we're going to do that all the way along. You can probably do it better from that side if you can get it to see. If you can see what you're doing, you can get it in there. Take that one out a minute. Oops. Put that line on that stitch there. Hopefully you can see those stitches. They're quite faint because they're yellow. I'm just popping that on there, and then we're going to put that one on there as well. Okie dokie. And then we're going to come in now and we're going to place this piece on. So this piece is going on the front, and you want it to line up exactly with that piece, like that, and you want it to be at the same sort of height, and then whip round to the back again and put that back in again. One, make sure that's on that line of stitching on that side. Two, and be careful if you've got these new pins because they are so sharp. Stabbing myself. And 3, okay, so that's there, and then we're just going to stitch straight across, but we're going to come in and we're going to put our foot right there so that that needle is going right down there beside that string. Okay, so I'm going to just put that right in there and put my foot down on the string itself, and then my needle is going to go so it sits on the other side of the string. Let's see if you can see that better. Hopefully you can see that. So I've got this side of it is on my 1/4 inch there, so we know that's 1/4 inch, and this is where, if you can, so I can feel it here, that's where that is, and that's where my needle is going to run along beside the string. Okay, so we're just going to come in and do that. So we'll do a little back stitch. Oh, hang on, it's not actually on the fabric. Get it onto the fabric. There we go, take that pin out. And then do a back stitch. And then come all the way along, running it alongside of that string. If you find that you're too far out, don't worry, because you can just go back and do it again. Got to the end. I'm just going to go back and just go push, and that's it. Okay, let's have a look at that. Sometimes you need to go back and do it again so you can see whether or not you like it or not. So there we have it, and this is our piece of string. It just sort of gives you that little bit of extra bit on the top. Okay, so I'm going to trim away all this excess so that you should just be left with your front piece and your with your interfacing on, and that should cover up some of the fabric. So I'm just going to come along and trim all that excess away, and that should stop you from seeing that fabric underneath when you fold it back over. If you're still noticing a little bit of the fabric coming through, and you can see it from the front, you can go back and give it a tiny trim so you don't see any of it. But I quite like that, so I think that's going to work. And you can just trim off the edges, and we're just going to go to the machine now, go to the iron now, sorry, and give it a quick iron just to press that so that that is flat. There you go. Okay, so that's that done. That's your little bib. So that's an alternative that you can do to just make sure that you've got a little bit of fabric at the top. Okay. Hello. So, right, let's have a look. Okay, so what I've done now is here we've got our bib, and here we've got the straps which are going to go onto the side of our bib. I've taken the straps and I've folded them over 1/4 of an inch, and I've ironed them all the way down. So you should have 2 straps, and you should have like that, and there you're going to put the seam, the ironed on down piece, down onto your, what will be your left side, and then you want to do the other 2 pieces, and you want to put them so that they are on the right side, okay, like that. So you've got them like that, because obviously those are for one side and those are for the other side. Okay, let's just do that. Okay, right, so we've got this piece, and it's going to go and it's going to lay on the top, and this piece which is like that, make sure you get it the right way round. Which piece is this? That's that piece. That piece. I've got 2 of the right size pieces, right? No, not that piece. Yes, that piece. That's the right way round. Okay, yeah. You're not going to really see any of this, but it's nice to have it the right way round. Just place that on the top. Just to give yourself a little bit. You've got plenty of this strap. I've left you plenty for it. Just line that up like that, and then put the other one like that, so that you've got those seams are on the outside, like so. Now I did do this burrito method and put it all in and did all that so that it sort of lined up properly and it all went, but it was really difficult to pull it through in that. So because it was okay but the first time I did it when I didn't have the interfacing on, but as soon as I put the interfacing on, it was really hard to pull through, so I gave up on that idea and I went for this one. If you wish to do the burrito method, you can do. It is complicated, but you can do that and roll it all inside and then turn the straps afterwards. But I found this way, because you don't see any of this anyway, so, and then just carry on. You don't need to pin this too much, just put a few pins in up the strap. I've given you plenty of strap and plenty of gathered stuff so that you've got loads of it, because out of that those pieces of fabric there was plenty enough to do the straps. If you've done the shorter piece and you've just got enough just to do the dress, do these pieces of the straps in yellow, and it looks quite nice in yellow as well. You don't have to, you can just, if you've got enough fabric. On my other piece I put a join in it on the larger dress, so I've got a join somewhere in the strap here, you know, so you don't need to stress too much about it. So I'm just going to come along and pin these up all the way, and the last one at the end, just a quick pin like that, and then do the other side. Okay, right, so making sure the fabric is going the right way, so the wove cup is upside down, that's it. So that one's going like that underneath. There we go. That's that. I'm just going to leave myself a little bit longer piece there underneath. And then the whoop-side cup is upside down on that one. It's a bit off-putting having that one upside down, because I keep looking at it and thinking I've got it wrong. Grab a couple of pins and we'll just pop that in. Right, so just pin all the way exactly the same on this side. So I don't know if you heard the doorbell, but what's happened in our bedroom is the window is all gone inside all funny, and it's got like large white drips inside the double glazed window, all going down the window inside. I mean, I've not had it that long, so we've got somebody out and they're going to have to replace it, so goodness knows how much that will cost, but there we go. That's life, isn't it? So we're going to come all the way around. But isn't that strange? Because I was thinking, like, you know, before we had double glazing, yes, you did have to paint them in that, but the glass lasted forever. The glass which was in this house when we moved in, it was the same glass as which was in there in 1926. So it was in there for approximately 70 years before we had it replaced. You could tell that it was like that because the glass at the bottom, glass over time runs down, and it was much thicker at the bottom than it was at the top. So there we go. So we're just having that done. Okay, so I'm going to go to the sewing machine now, and I'm just going to do it back stitch, stitch all the way down, back stitch to finish on both sides. And go up a little bit because I'm not anywhere near where that fabric is starting. So I'm just coming up to where it starts, and now I'll do my back stitch. Okay, and then I'm going to just run the whole way along. Oops, it's caught there, can you see? Caught on that pin, so just be careful. You don't want that happening. If you find that when you get back there that is not right, you can always just go on unpick it and do it again. I'm trying to do it so that my hands are out of the way, so usually I would have my hands here and I'd sort of be gently guiding it, but I'm trying to keep my hands out of the way for the video. Got a new video setup coming, so hopefully that'll help. A lot of this off. That's obviously too long a strap, but we're going to cut a lot of that off so that I've just done this to give us a little bit more extra playing room, so that you cut it and we've got enough fabric to do it, so that's why I did that. Okay, let's go down the other side. Come on a bit, back stitch. Yeah.
It's gone.
Ah, okay.
5 minutes.
Finish that off with the back stitch. Make sure you finish on the back stitch, and there you go. And that is all done. So the next thing you want to do is just take this to the iron now and press this so that's laying beautifully flat all the way along. and then we're just going to come down and we're going to stitch these two pieces together along the edge. Okay, so I'll just go and do that. So if you would like, you can come along and pin this all the way down, but it's quite easy to just hold it together with your fingers like this. So that's what I'm going to do, and we're going to stitch it really close to the edge. It's nice and close, so it's sort of start just there on the edge. Okay, I'm going to go back and then just come all the way down. If you hold it here, it will go through your fingers. You can make sure that it's coming all the way down nice and close to that edge. Okay. If you want to pin it, that's absolutely fine as well. This isn't quite as neat as doing it the other way, but this is going to be completely covered over anyway, so you're not going to see any of it. So it's sort of like, why stress about doing that and making it really hard when it's going to be completely covered over, and it just seems a little bit silly really. So you don't actually see any of the strap at all. You could do the burrito method if you decided you don't want to have a ruffle and you just want the straps. Then yeah, that would be a good idea to do that, and I can probably try and show you how to do the burrito method. I'll do that on a separate video just in case you do want to just put in a strap. This doesn't look too bad at all, you're not going to see it as well. And just come back on. Yeah, and do exactly the same on the other side. Put that underneath. Line it up where we want it to be, and we're just going to run all the way down exactly the same as we just done.